Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, we will be starting our journey into Act 7, covering all of the easiest paths. If multiple paths are an option in a quest, I will cover them all. Remember that these are just what I found easier, so your roster and experiences may vary. So let's dive in. Act 7, Chapter 1, Quest Number 1. Reboot. Well, here we go again. Before we dive into Act 7.1.1 properly, a few words about Act 7 in general. In my opinion, Act 7 is easier than Act 6, if you have the skills for it. As we will see with our first boss, there are all sorts of things here that will reward you for doing the right thing. When we get into later Act 7, this can get really quite crazy and you can put out some amazing numbers. But you will need to be able to consider many factors at once. If you have just Herc blasted your way through Act 6, you may struggle with Act 7 more than others. Best to go back to 6.1 and start doing some path there without Hercules and learn to play around annoying mechanics rather than just brute forcing them. On to Act 7 properly then. In all of Act 7, we have 3 global nodes that are actually in our favour. Star Power increases the damage of our 6 stars. This is really nice, and when the content first came out, and 6 stars were fairly rare, similar to how 7 stars are at the time of this video, this was here to encourage players to bring in their 6 stars and experiment, rather than just relying on their top 5 stars. This does not apply to 7 stars though, if you have them. Globals 2 and 3 are fairly similar. Adrenaline Rush and Hold the Line give damage reduction and block proficiency respectively, depending on how much adrenaline you have. This is the white part of your health bar that 6 and 7 star champions can heal back when they take damage. So, if you get hit, you have a bit of a safety net to help out. Unlike Star Power though, these 2 nodes do apply to 7 stars, as they do have access to adrenaline. The final thing to note is that many quests in Act 7 have multiple bosses, though you will only ever have to face one boss per path. This does also mean that after the boss, you will have to move to the end node. There won't be any more fights, but you just have to make sure you don't accidentally quit out or start a new quest and lose all of your progress. It may sound a bit stupid, but I have seen it done. There are also champion swappers before all of the bosses, just like in Act 6. There are many easy paths in 7.1, but the standout easy path, and the one I would recommend, is the Ronin path. Unlike Act 6 that had a pretty nasty first quest, Act 7 starts you off pretty gently. The nodes here are Colorblind and Flare. Colorblind just means that you need to make sure that everyone on the team is of a different class, or you will degenerate at the start of the fight. The 6 defenders on the path are all different classes themselves, so we can guarantee class advantage on 5 out of the 6 fights if we follow this plan. The other node is Flare. This we have seen before, but it was all the way back in 5.4.2. Flare increases your damage by a lot, but you will also degen all of your health over 60 seconds. If you have class advantage though, this degen damage is halved, so you only lose half your health, but if you have class disadvantage then the damage is doubled, so you'll be dead in 30 seconds. Given we can guarantee class advantage in 5 out of 6 fights from following Colorblind, and if you've got a few health potions lying around, this node is basically a pure damage boost. Finish fights quickly, and enjoy the damage. The defenders on this path don't really pose much of a threat. Watch out for Storm's big specials and Ultron's evades, and that's pretty much it. A nice path to start us off. And if this video is helping you, please, have class advantage over that like button. The boss that we will be taking in this quest is Yondu. Remember how much you love masochism? Well, Yondu has super masochism. Luckily for us though, it's somehow easier than regular masochism. For a start, it doesn't affect all debuffs. If you inflict a stun, bleed, poison, shock, incinerate, cold snap, or rupture debuff, Yondu will heal for 5% of his max health, and this debuff is applied to you. The debuff applied to Yondu is also removed. This then goes on cooldown for 5 seconds. However, knocking Yondu down refreshes this cooldown and extends future cooldowns by 1 second. The other nodes we have to deal with here are Feats of Power, Rich Get Richer, and Foresight. Feats of Power gives Yondu a Fury buff when he is above 1 bar of power, and a crit chance buff when above 2. If he gets to 3 bars of power, then he gains a crit damage buff. These are some fairly chunky buffs, but keep baiting that special 1 and we have nothing to worry about. Rich Get Richer gives whoever has more unique buffs a constant trickle of power. We can use this to our advantage if we have more unique buffs than Yondu. And by himself, Yondu doesn't generate any buffs, so that's going to be 1 unique buff at 1 bar of power, 2 at 2, and 3 at 3, all from Feats of Power. So if you bring a champion with 2 unique buffs, you will always be gaining the power gain, or you'll be the same so no one gains it, but if you just keep baiting the special 1, it will always be on you. And finally, Foresight. This is a purely advantageous node. If we intercept Yondu, we gain a massive 200% Fury. That's it. Very simple and excellent for us. So, what do we need to beat this quest? Well, nothing. Bring a team of all different classes, and that's pretty much it. For the boss, as long as we have a couple of unique buffs and a champion that doesn't rely on debuffs, we should be fine. For our ideal team, well, given we don't need anything special, our team is super flexible. I reached out to my YouTube members for what they wanted to see in action, and they suggested Adam Warlock and Quicksilver. I rounded out the team with Shang-Chi, Black Widow Clairvoyant, and Toad. Black Widow Clairvoyant is particularly good here, as the heal from her Bleed Stance Special 2 is based on the damage dealt. More damage dealt means more healing. At the Champion Swapper, I'll be swapping in Hulkling. He has plenty of unique debuffs, and his damage is excellent, so he will be my boss counter, though pretty much anyone on the team could work, as long as we watch out for Rich Get Richer. Adam Warlock will be able to take advantage of Rich Get Richer, as he has enough buffs. The class I have chosen to omit from this team is Tech, as Tech champions would have class disadvantage versus the boss, and the mutant on the path is OG Storm, who doesn't really pose much of a threat. Fairly soon after this video goes out, I will get up a short commentated video of me going through the path with the exact team I suggested above. It'll be much more relaxed, but should hopefully give you some more insight into how I look at getting around these issues. I will also answer any popular questions from the comments of this video and that video, so please leave yours down below. As always, remember that this is story content, so it won't be going anywhere anytime soon. If you get stuck here and find yourself spending lots of resources, stop and focus on something else. The monthly event quest and side quests are a great place to pick up more materials, shards and units, as are battlegrounds and the arena. So, that's it. Everything you need to know to clear all of 7.1.1. I have a fair few things in the works, including a few secret projects, but I will be focusing on Act 7 for the near future. I also have a Discord server, so please go and join that. A great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and, as long as I'm awake, I do my best to be there, as much as possible. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below, and please do all the YouTube stuff. Thank you, and I will see you next time.